So I've got this old whippersnipper that's been sitting under the carport there for at least 2 years, maybe more, without being run. Now, as with most things, well, it was working when I put it away, so we're going to mix up some two-stroke at 40 to 1 and then just try and get it started. And if it doesn't, well, we'll start pulling things apart to figure it out. Alright, we've got our 40 to 1, give it a good shake. Oops. And the frustrating thing about this is that this is the mixing bottle that came with this, but the tank is smaller than the bottle. Alright, so that went exactly as I expected. So now the next step is to pull the spark plug, give it a bit of a polish because it's probably corroded. We'll pop it back in and we'll try again. So one of the first hiccups I've had is a little spring. That's the contact from the spark plug hood. It came off, still attached. So now I've got to try and rethread that in there and hope. Now, luckily for me, spark plug is the exact same diameter as the two-stroke kit ones. So as expected, that's a little bit corroded and gross. So, steel wool in a pinch. Now, a wire brush would be better for this. Incidentally, that's not the same spark plug that comes in the two-stroke kit, just for clarification. It's that little nut there that's the same. But all we're going to do is clean the contact point, because I suspect we weren't getting spark. Alright, take 3. Looking at these fuel lines here, they're all cracked, and it would explain all the fuel that was leaking everywhere. So what I did is I went and pulled some old fuel line off an old RC buggy that I had. It hasn't been started in about 8 or 10 years, but it's been out of the weather, so that fuel line's still nice and pliable. So we'll go ahead, pop some new line on, and try again. Now, in the spirit of being exceptionally dodgy, if I set fire to myself, you saw it here first. Because what I've done is I've made my own temporary fuel tank. Because the hoses were completely munted all the way down into there. But what we have is a pressurized fuel line, which incidentally is rather backwards, but we'll worry about that later. This is going to fall over, set fire to everything. It's alive! So, the natural progression of this project is to put the cover back on and sticky tape our new fuel tank to the sides. All right. It is a question of will I or won't I set fire to myself. There's a little patch down the backyard behind me. Let's see if we can cut it up. Now, I would call that a moderate success. Of course, a lemonade bottle, it's not a fuel tank. And the fuel hose I've got is too short. I mean, I did pull it off a remote control buggy, so it was barely long enough to reach as it was, and it just kept on pulling off. It's the wrong diameter. So I have to go and buy some fresh fuel line and try and get that fuel tank fixed up properly. But hey, at least I know the damn thing still works after not being used for at least 2 years.